Hi, my name is Latoya.
I'm William.
I'm Kim.
Mercedes.
KC.
And you're watching
The VAdio Show.
The VAdio Show is brought to you by We Care Transport for Kids and Platforms Shoe Boutique.
Boy, you're sure in a hurt. You think you can treat me like dirt and then get away with it, honey. Well, you got another thing coming now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to the People's Show, the VAdio Show. And as you well know, if you've been watching, I like to name my episodes. And we call this one Hope and Healing. And I've got somebody here that's very special to this area. And it's just something about how the road to success usually is ambition. But the vehicle you arrive in is persistence. And this man has been persistent and he's arrived. But not only has he arrived, but he's stepped back to help people make it down that road, give them hope and give them inspiration. Dr. Britt.
Well, it's a pleasure for me to be on VAdio.
It's a pleasure to have you.
And it's a pleasure for me to be part of the movement of progress.
Yes, sir. And that's what this is about, is trying to push progress. Yeah. And you are an inspiration to many, whether you know it or not. I know you're a busy guy, but people watch you. I've heard a lot about you. Before you sit in this seat, I'm talking months before,
okay,
we've already envisioned we got to have Dr. Britt on the show.
Well, you're very kind, but you know my background.
Yes, sir.
I come from here. I look at myself as a community person. I come from Suffolk. I come from the segregated system back in the 50s and 60s.
Right.
So I look at myself as a community colleague.
And you are.
Yeah, so.
You are. And that's what's so special about you, because a lot of people, they'll get to a certain level, and I can't say that they forget. Sometimes they just get busy and get into the usual routine, but you make it a point to come back and motivate other people, because that's basically how our community grows and gets better.
Well, it's hard for me not to. I mean, I look at people losing their lives. I look at people with illness and all that. We're fortunate. You're fortunate. I'm fortunate. He's fortunate. We could be down a different road.
Yeah, you're right. You are correct.
And
I'm sure you see a lot of different scenarios.
And so I am so blessed. So when I can do, I do.
Yes, yes. Now, I'm going to ask you this, because I looked at all your credentials, and it's a lot. It's a lot. I can't possibly remember all of them. Could you please just go through? I know you're a modest man, but please, because I like people to know who's sitting here.
Well, first I like to look at myself as a public servant, so but who happens to be a surgeon.
Say no more.
Okay. And but my background is such that I was in the public school system in Suffolk, the same public school system that my mother taught for 53 years.
Okay.
And my father was a naval shipyard worker. He was a rigger for 30 years in the Norfolk shipyard. I have had two brothers, and one brother has died. And then I went from Suffolk to Charlottesville at University of Virginia. And then from there to Harvard, and then I did my training. And so currently I'm the chairman of surgery at the Department of Surgery at the medical school, Eastern Virginia Medical School. I am a full professor, so I teach, I do research.
Okay.
And I've been a visiting professor at least 190 to 200 institutions throughout the world. But at the end of the day, I am from Hampton Roads.
I can agree now.
And I'm a proud citizen.
There's one more thing. I just need you to go ahead and toot your horn on this one, because I read this and it inspired me. You are the first and only black man to sit on the chair, the highest chair. Am I right?
Well, yeah, I was the first to have an endowed chair.
Endowed chair.
In surgery.
Okay.
And that's a chair that's obviously funded by someone, and they have a name and all that. I was the first in the country. But you know, I look at that and I'm somewhat, I have mixed emotions about that.
Okay.
I had pioneers who should have been there.
Gotcha.
But the doors were closed. I mean, my mentor, who died several years ago, O.W. Hoffler, was from Norfolk. And his father delivered me in Suffolk.
Wow.
He was one of the last residents taught by Charles Drew at Howard. He could have had all that, but the doors were closed on him.
Right.
So while people say you were the first, I look at that as a it's not necessarily a positive.
I got
there should have been other firsts years before, but they had barriers.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I said that if I was handed the baton, if they handed me the baton, I said that I would not drop it because I knew what they had to do to get to that point to hand me the baton.
Now, do you think that it was just perfect timing, or it was your persistence? What allowed you to be the one?
Well, I think it was multiple, but I still feel that it should have been others before.
I can agree that. I can agree.
It should have been others before.
Yeah.
But again, given an opportunity, I did not waste it.
Gotcha.
Did not waste
Gotcha.
it. And we'll still not do that. I mean, I feel committed. I think we owe our pioneers that.
Yes, you're right. You're right about
So
it.
when I get tired, I think about what people did to open up doors for schools and all the beatings and jails and jail time and all of that. I'm not going to let it go. I'm not going to drop the baton.
Like that. Now, this is my thing, and I'm glad you said that. This generation seems to have forgotten the things that we had to go through to be able to have the opportunities that we have now.
Yeah, I don't know what has happened, but it seems like there's not a commitment to make sacrifices to be successful.
Right.
Unless it's a quick fix, a quick turnaround, people don't want to deal with it. You're not going to find somebody successful who has not made sacrifices.
Right.
I don't care. You can look at Michael Jordan, you can look at LeBron James, look at anyone. They have made sacrifices. They may not tell you that.
They may show you all the glorious parts of it.
No, you're going to make sacrifices. You're going to have the hours that you put in and all of that.
And you can't get to the top of the ladder success with
I
your hand in your
can't
pocket.
think of one overnight success story. Not one.
Everybody has a story. Every book I read, every documentary I've seen, there's a long story of a lot of opposition.
And if you read the biographies, and I like reading biographies,
I do too.
there have always been problems.
Yeah,
the marathon was not there were the bad legs of the race. They weren't all lights and cameras. They had so a lot of people don't realize people have gone through a lot.
Yeah.
The successful ones have.
And I think it's important for people to know those things. Because a lot of people these days, we've gotten so materialistic, they'll get there and they like to show you the cars, the houses, and they like to show you all the shiny things of it all, but not give you the formula on what it took to get there.
But the problem is I have to obviously give them credit. They just don't see it. They don't have these sort of shows. They don't see these sort of shows.
Okay, correct. I got you.
They just don't see it. They don't see it on the news.
Yeah.
And so in a way we can't blame them but so much because they haven't seen it.
Yeah. And that is why we wanted to do this, because we
and that's why I'm here.
We can see. And I appreciate
that's why I'm here.
Because I know you're a busy man. But for you to come and speak to
I'm
us,
busy, but you know something I found a long time ago. You make time for the things you want to do.
Say no more. I really appreciate you, man. I really do, because people.
If I told you I had $5 million for you in North Dakota, I bet you would make time.
I'm gonna show up. I'll walk down to North Dakota. Quick, fast, in a hurry.
So people would make time for things they really want to do.
Yes, sir. You are correct. And I think that it's very important to have role models such as yourself, because of the fact that we can only go as far as we can see, and for them to see you and see that there's more options other than entertainment and what else do they choose?
Entertainment, sports, all the things that
because if that's all you're waiting on, your odds are real slim. The percentage rate of you getting into that. So I'm not saying it's impossible.
And your longevity. Remember now, you're not gonna be in sports but for so long.
Right.
And you're not gonna be an entertainer but for so long. Unless you're on the Lawrence Welk show.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I mean, at some point you have to step aside for somebody else younger.
You are correct. But if you go and you put in the work and you build an empire, you build a legacy, you build yourself something, a trade of some sort, you got something you can work with for the rest of your life.
I just feel fortunate I'm able to take care of people who are sick.
And I'm sure it's so many things you see that make you respect life a lot
Oh,
more
you got to be
and
careful.
take advantage of it.
If you're not humble being a physician, particularly being a surgeon, when you know at any time you can lose kidney function, you can lose pulmonary function. If you're not humble, something is wrong.
Yeah.
At any time, you can be the wealthiest person at all. Steve Jobs would have given every penny. Steve Jobs would have given every penny to get his health back.
To still be here.
He would have given you every dime.
And we continue to waste time with nonsense.
Nonsense.
With nonsense. Well, I'm going to take it out. We're going to go to a commercial break. I'm going to go back. We're going to dig a little deeper on what you do. This is the VAdio show. This is the People's Show. And we'll see you after the break.
A message from one of our proud sponsors. A message from one of our proud sponsors.
We Care Transport for Kids offers parents a safe, community-trusted, and reliable children's transportation service. We Care transports kids to and from school and on to other after-school activities such as aftercare, tutoring lessons, sports, and other enrichment programs. We also have wheelchair vans for transporting children with special needs. So if you're in need of a reliable and affordable door-to-door service, give us a call. We Care is not just a name, it's what we do.
A message from one of our proud sponsors.
I need it, I want it, I gotta have it. Platform, high-class shoes at a low cost.
Your shoe experience awaits. Platform Shoe Boutique and the Gentleman's Closet is your place for quality, high fashion, and trendy shoes. Located at 9622 Warwick Boulevard in the Hilton Shopping Center in Newport News. Check us out at platformsboutique.net. Platforms is your holiday VIP spot, specializing in VIP parties and private showings. We closed the boutique down just for you. Like us on Facebook and Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Shop online at our online store, platformsboutique.net.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back to your favorite show, the VAdio show. And I'm here with Dr. Britt.
Good to be here.
Yes, sir. It's glad to have you
Good to
now.
be part of the movement.
This is a movement that people need to get on. If you're not on it, you need to tell your friends, let everybody know what's going on. Now, Dr. Britt, I got to ask you, man, I've been hearing a lot out here, and I've been hearing this for a while now, that, you know, this generation there's no hope.
Well, you know, every generation has had challenges. I mean, I had challenges in my generation. I'm sure you've had challenges, but there's a challenge. There's no doubt about it. There's a challenge that they don't feel they have the opportunities. There's a challenge where they don't feel they have the resources, so they take the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
And so in a way, you can't really blame them. We have to be able to address that challenge by having different role models and different options that they know about, so they don't necessarily have to choose the option of trying to go down the entertainment route.
Right.
Which is okay, but it's not going to be for everybody.
Right.
And the sports route, which is not going to be for everyone.
Because there's going to be a lot of, it's a small percentage that get in there.
Yeah.
It's a
And
small
then the
percentage.
longevity of it is only a few years.
Right. So what are you going to do after that? I really would like people to, that's why, again, you're here. I want people to see there's more options. It's not out of your league to become a surgeon or to get into the medical field.
No, I knew I wanted to do medicine, but I met somebody, and I mentioned him before, O.W. Hoffler, who was a Norfolk surgeon. In fact, his father delivered me, William Hoffler Sr. And I remember I had an injury, and the father said, I want my son to see you. He's a surgeon. I had never met him before. He walked into the room. He was tall, handsome, confident. I turned to my mother and said, I want to be like him. And he was a role model for the rest of my career.
And that's what we need, because it seems like our
and he was from Hampton Roads.
Right, and that made
and he was one of Charles Drew's last residents.
Mm-hmm.
So he was African American. He did not have the advantages I currently have.
Right,
and that's why I always mention when people say you're the first. Well, I'm the first because other folks weren't allowed to be the first.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
And
you're just blessed to have the right time and to come on in with your ambition. Well, that's why, and that's key for us to see people that are doing things progressive, that are doing things to give you another option. Because when I grew up, you know, coming up in Louisiana, there wasn't a lot of things to see. If you had a car without a dent in it, you were doing okay. You know what I mean?
I understand.
So you can only go as far as you can see. So all I wanted to do was get a car with no dent in it.
Yeah, but you still have to be able to have a vision, and that's what we need to do, provide a vision for people. Mm-hmm. I had a vision about being a surgeon when I saw him. Mm-hmm. And I kept that vision. Mm-hmm. And we have to be able to do the same for the next generation.
Right.
Give them visions.
Right.
And then they choose one.
Right.
And then they realize that it's not something you can do overnight. You got to make the sacrifices. You got to put in the time and all of that.
You got to put in work, and it makes you appreciate it even more too. With that given vision, they have taken away a lot of our role models, because we know, like you were saying before the cameras came on, there's a lot of, because I was saying that there aren't a lot of role models left, but you had made a good point. They just don't.
They don't advertise them. They don't highlight them.
Right.
I don't like to call myself a role model because none of us are perfect, but there are people out there doing various things and successfully with purpose. And they need to underscore that and highlight that.
Exactly.
But it's not sensational for some. It's not sexy for some. It's not, entertainment. But at the end of the day, we need to teach them that's not necessarily the whole picture.
Cool, cute, and sexy don't keep the lights on.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, unless
as my mother used to say, there is no romance without finance.
You ain't lying about it.
And there's no romance without having a foundation.
Right. And we need to build these foundations. And as parents, we should be able to water these seeds and build and push into our kids more options.
Yeah, that's why I cannot applaud you enough. When I found out about what you all were doing, I told my staff, make time. I will be there.
I appreciate that, Dr. Britt. That's great.
But I want other people to be part of this movement.
Yes, and I do too. And once we all come together, because again, people just want to be a part of the in crowd, and the in crowd is these days seems as if the negative.
I'm gonna predict you're gonna have a successful movement, and you're gonna do well. And as I said before, you're gonna be on an Oprah show. If you go on the Oprah show, just don't start crying.
I may have to share that. I'll do it backstage.
I will be hurt when you start crying.
I'll do it backstage, wipe it off, and I get it together.
Because this is a story that I think is no one's gonna be able to contain it.
I appreciate that, Dr. Britt. And let me ask you about this, because see, you threw me off, man.
No, it's okay. See, he's about to cry already.
I was going to grab a handkerchief.
It's going to be kicked up the commercial.
No, but speaking of basically, uplifting each other, giving inspiration, you have your own, every year you put together something to have scholarships.
And I'm glad you said me, because I'm going to take me out of it. Okay. The community actually did it for me. I had some grateful patients, and again, they wanted to do. I said, I don't have to do it. That's what I do. I'm trained to obviously make you well and operate on you. But they wanted to do something for me. I said, well, I really don't need anything for me.
Right.
Why don't we concentrate on developing a program where we can get some funds for scholarships for minorities who might want to go to medical school? Currently now, if you finish medical school, you start off with $200,000 of loan. Yeah, think about it. Before you start one internship, before you even become an intern. And so what has happened, a lot of the minorities said, look, I can't afford that. Well, think about it. I don't want anyone to not choose a career in medicine because they can't afford it.
Right.
We're a better country than that.
Right.
Because if that's the case, you're going to only have the elitists being physicians, and they might not want to obviously provide service in some of the communities.
Right. And like you were saying earlier, if I'm from this community and I become a doctor,
there's a good chance you're going to provide some service to that community.
And that not only helps from a doctor's standpoint, but from an ambition standpoint. Just like you walked in and you saw that surgeon or that doctor and you was like, I want to be like him when I grow up. That gives somebody else an inspiration.
That's why I was so inspired when they decided to go that route. And there's a scholarship done, so it's a big event, about 4, 5, sometimes 600 people, and we're raising money for scholarships.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And therefore, if you are a minority and you don't have the funds,
you're qualified to go to medical school, or you're in medical school, then you have a chance to win a scholarship.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And you do it every year, right?
Every year.
That is good. I mean, so let me ask you this, because you have a lot of things that you do. I'm talking work-wise. With all the work that you have going on, with, you know, having to go to the hospital, teach, and all this good stuff, how do you find the time, and why do you?
You are not successful if you just do what you're trained to do. To be successful, I tell my residents this, you have to do something beyond your specialty.
Gotcha.
You have to extend yourself beyond the walls of the hospital or medical school and do something in the community. If you don't do that, you're not complete.
Got you. So you have to step it up a little bit.
I mean, you cannot accept all of the benefits and then not want to do something else to help the community. No, you can't. It's hard. I couldn't sleep at night if I did that.
I couldn't either.
Yeah.
I really couldn't either. And that's why that'll help break.
I don't charge 1 penny for what I do in the community. Not 1 penny.
You know, we're in a selfish society right now.
But have you seen a hearse? I haven't seen a hearse yet that had a lot of a bank attached to the hearse car.
Right. You can't carry nothing with you.
You're not gonna carry it with you, and that's not the purpose. And in medicine, particularly in medicine, you know, medicine was never meant to be a business. I get uneasy when people talk about the business of medicine. It was never meant to make a profit.
It's a big business now, though, Dr.
It's a $1 trillion industry.
Yes, it is.
But it's something that is not right about having a profit on taking care of the ill.
Yeah, and I can agree. And we can get deep into that, but I ain't going to take it there.
I understand.
I'm not going to take it there. But people have to, and you said purpose. People have to understand that we all were put here for a certain purpose. If money didn't exist, I know you'd still be great.
I told people, if I didn't get paid a dime, don't tell my boss this, I would still do what I do. Yeah. Because it's something I feel that I have a gift.
This is your purpose. And God gave us all a purpose, and we should look for our purpose. What happens is we start trying to put on somebody else's purpose because we feel like it looks cool. You know what I mean? But it doesn't fit you like it should.
Yeah, but you don't have a commitment. If the only driving force is that this is cool, because sometimes it's not going to be cool.
There's a lot of times it's not cool. I love doing this. There's a lot of times it takes lack of sleep, lack of energy.
You made your sacrifices.
We've made sacrifices, right? We made sacrifices. So we understand that, you know, some people miss opportunity and don't see it because it looks like work. We know what it looks like, and we know that it takes grind, and it takes work, and it takes perseverance.
Yeah, but you know what about work? If you do something you really enjoy, you will not work a day in your life. Because it's really not work. You're not looking at it as work. And I enjoy what I do, and I'm sure you're the same way.
I love this, man. I love this to death. I feel like I'm walking in my purpose. So.
Well, you're starting the movement. I'm in it.
You are definitely in it.
And I'm going to be watching you on Oprah, too.
Yes, I'm going to play that. I'm going to play Oprah. You hear that? All right. I'm coming. We're going to take it to break, and we're going to take it back to Dr. Britt after this commercial, all right?
Out in the streets, about to do this interview with Malik. We so sweet.
Hi, I'm Malik Hawkins, and I'm playing Travis Younger.
I'm Quincy Carr, playing Walter Lee Younger.
I'm Tashana Latrice, and I will be playing the newest character, Mrs. Johnson.
Well, my character is, I play the role of Benita.
My character is Lena Younger, and I play Mama. Mama is the matriarch for the family.
My character, his name is Carl Linder. He's a representative of the neighborhood association of the neighborhood the Youngers are trying to move into.
I'm here with Marlon Hargrave, co-owner of Keep the Change Productions, who's putting a play on March 14th at Willett Hall called A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry.
On the countdown. 5.
I'm sorry, bro. Why is it important to support this show? Not just because there's good actors in it, not just because it's a great show, not just because it's at Willett Hall. Why is it important to support the show?
Virginia doesn't get a lot of respect for its acting industry. I think this would be a great opportunity to come out and support the Virginia actors.
Well, first of all, we do need to sell the tickets. Okay?
That's true. That's
okay,
true.
let's go and get them tickets.
We
out.
been on Broadway several times. Denzel just rapped with it, and the play is done year-round.
I think it's very important to support this play because we have a lot of actors and actresses in this cast who are really working hard to bring you all an awesome show. This show is not just for us, it's also for you.
Raisin in the Sun is one of the greatest plays of the 20th century. It's a very relevant play in this day and age with race relations in this country.
Mainly because we want to let folks know that there is talent right here in Hampton Roads. And it's better to support the local performing arts. Don't look at it as, oh, it's local folks. Look at it as these are some talented individuals that's going to put our city on the map.
Keep the money in the community. Come and support your own. There is a lot of talent here in the Virginia area, so don't sleep on the talent.
Please come out and see us because we're going to give you everything that you would see on Broadway. Or even a great show that comes through here. We have several people that come through, or several production companies that come through here. People that spend their money because they don't think that they can get the quality here. And we at Keep the Change Productions, we're saying that yes, you can. I'm trained from New York, from D.C., but trained in New York, worked in L.A. as well, so my standards are very high as far as the quality that we're looking for. And I will only deal with trained actors, so that's the level that we're on.
I promise you, you come out to the show, I won't act like I don't know you when I make it and when we make it. We'll accept your friendship on Facebook, okay? Follow us on Twitter, all of that.
We gotta support our own. You wanna see big things, you don't have to buy a plane ticket and fly to Hollywood. You don't have to drive to Atlanta. We can build this right here, but it comes with you support. Support Keep the Change, support this show on March 14th at Willett Hall. We're gonna see you there. Wardrobe provided by Upscale Men's Fashion.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are back to the VAdio show, the People Show. And I'm still here with Dr. Britt, and it's still
part of the movement.
Yes, sir, you are. Now, this is what I'm going to ask you. We talked a little bit about this generation.
Sure.
And, you know, it's rough out here. You got a lot of negative things being put out on the radio, on TV, even on the news. It's hard to find positive, uplifting, motivational people unless you're looking for them these days. What would you say to the people that don't know their worth, that are looking for that microwave, quick way out, quick way to success, first of all, and then I ask the second question after.
First thing I would tell them that number one, you do have worth. The key thing, they have to be disciplined. And there's a vehicle for everyone to get out of whatever background they feel that's obviously impoverished, that's holding them back. And that vehicle is, you have to have a spiritual base, but you also have to have education. And you have to be able to, and you can obtain this, affordable these days. A lot of people think it's not affordable. You have community colleges. Certainly you're doing a solid job in high school, community colleges. So there's a way out. So there's no one that I can say, you just don't have the worth. There is a way out, but you have to have the discipline to do it.
Right. Because you came from Suffolk.
I came from Suffolk. You know, I come from a wealthy.
And it was a much worse time than it is now.
It was a segregated system. In fact, to be honest with you, I was very pleased with the teachers. I mean, I learned more in that environment because they put a focus on you.
Right.
There was a focus on you doing well. And so I would tell them discipline, being organized, but knowing that they have the worth, they just have to obviously have a vehicle. And I think for me, the vehicle was education.
Got you. Now, my next question would be, what if you have that person that does have the ambition to be, say, in the medical field, anywhere of a successful stature, okay? They have that ambition, but due to their background, due to their current situation, it's just a rough struggle.
Yeah, but a lot of people have a rough struggle. Look at Ben Carson. Ben Carson had a rough struggle. I don't think that obviously precludes you from being successful. They just have to have a strategy.
Right.
And having a mentor or having a colleague help you, and I'll be more than happy that people reach out to me to do that. There is always a strategy to doing well.
Right.
People have a tendency not to want to follow that strategy.
You just have to take the time.
That strategy requires sacrifice now.
Right.
It requires discipline, but there's always a strategy.
Right. There's no premature success.
Oh no.
Okay.
And remember, and there'll be times of the race they will be not so attractive.
Right.
I mean, it's like a marathon. As I said before, the bad legs of the race, and you're not going to always have the cameras on you and all of that, but at the end of the day, you have a vision.
But that's part of what builds you, am I right?
Yeah.
The bad stuff, the issues.
Well,
that
it gives you the tenacity. It gives you the resilience when you're knocked down. That I still have that vision.
Right.
But if you don't have that vision, you got to be kidding. You can go anyway.
You don't know where you're going if you don't have a vision.
No. Once I focused on I wanted to be a surgeon like O.W. Hoffler, I knew exactly what I needed to do.
And then therefore you map out the steps to get there.
And you make the adjustments when you have to.
Right. And there will be adjustments that have to be made. It's not going to be a smooth transition through it all. For real, I embrace the issues because I know if I face it again, I already know how to deal with you.
And if you go back, as I stated before, there's no one successful that didn't do that. For some reason, people feel you got these folks who are successful and they just happen to wake up and they were successful. That's not true.
No, and they market this to us. They give us so much miseducation out here, and I hate to keep harping on the entertainers and whatnot. But to be honest with you, I feel like that is the source of the problem, because these days that's where we get everything from. From our style of dress, from the way that we talk, from where we go, from who we like to hang out with, what type of women or men we like to be with, even to our personalities. These reality shows, a lot of young girls get their personalities of this diva attitude, like somebody owes them something from that.
I would love to be able to say, just do me one favor. I had to talk to that group. And instead of looking at a reality show once a week, just read a biography for an hour that you would be looking at the reality show.
Yeah.
And then they'll realize that this person started with a bad background and all that, and then they became successful.
Yeah. Because if you listen to fools long enough, you become one.
I understand.
And it goes the opposite way. If you listen to people who are ambitious, people who are doing things and making things happen, you tend to, pick things up from that. And that's why I try to surround myself with people like yourself, ambitious people, because it allows me to grow.
Well, I like what you're doing, because hopefully this sort of media, this sort of a show, people can see. And they can say, well, this is something I can do.
Exactly. I want this to become contagious. I want
them to turn away from Duck Dynasty or the Real Wives of Atlanta and look at your show.
Right. Something of substance. We want to feed people and give them something that they can take, add to themselves, and make better people. Better people make better communities, which in turn makes a better world. Less complaining and more problem solving. And that's what I've seen that you've done, you've accomplished, and even though you've made it to where I feel it's the heights of heights in your field, you come back and you help people along the road.
But I still see myself as a student. I still read every night. I still study. I still provide a helping hand. So I look at myself as just being fortunate.
Right. You are God's child walking in
the very moment that I say I've gotten there, it's time for me to leave.
Right. Time for me to kick my feet up and relax for the rest of it all.
Can't do that.
No, not ambitious people. The young folks got a song called "I Started from the Bottom, Now I'm Here," but as an ambitious person, you're never here. It's a continuous road.
And if you're not busy, then if you feel like you're not busy, then help somebody else.
Right.
Donate your time to someone else.
Right. And that makes our life much better when we're surrounded with better people who are ambitious and progressive. And that's what I want for this.
Well, this is the right movement. And
I appreciate
you put together a perfect formula.
I thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And your colleagues.
I applaud you. Okay. We applaud each other.
Okay, fair enough. Fair
well,
enough.
I'm going to shake your
hand.
It's a pleasure. And I thank you so much for being on the show. I usually ask people if there's some information they want to give or advertise. You're not that type of guy. Just Google Dr. Britt. You'll see what he's all about. This is the VAdio show. This is the People Show. And we'll see y'all next episode. Now, you know the VAdio show is all about uplifting the community. And what makes a better and stronger community than strong businesses and organizations? Now, last year we did the billboard campaign, which was awesome. We had 16 local businesses and organizations, and they were able to get major visibility on the highway. But we want to do something much better this year. Since everyone has a New Year's resolution, we want to make this year the best year of your life. We want to give a gift to the community and wrap this bus. Now, we have about 15 of these promos on the back of HRT buses around, and they do great. But there's nothing better than seeing a fully wrapped bus that you've never seen before. Not only a bus that you've never seen before, but a bus that's riding with 28 to 30 local businesses and organizations on the side, getting major visibility, major promo, and this is a billboard that moves. We really look forward to hearing from you. Only a few slots left. So get in contact with us through social networking or email. However you got to do it, get in contact, because this won't be lasting long. These spots will go fast. So come on and take this ride with us, and let's show this community exactly what we can do.